was taking her time. Baby steps inside the lines. Last one in the nest to go. But I told her this will always be home. So fly away, little bird, little bird. It's time to wander without knowing. I've got these demons in my mind. I am my own worst contender. I wear my shield and my armor. Not picking sides, 'cause they're both mine. My demons know I'm the rebel. I am my problem, my answer. I'm soldier and the commander. Not picking sides, 'cause they're both mine. My demons know I'm the rebel.
Hey guys,
Hey,
How are you?
what's up? How you guys doing?
good.
Doing really well. Yourself?
Good, good. So it's you two.
Yes.
It is us too.
Perfect,
Sorry to
perfect.
disappoint.
Yeah.
This is-
No,
you
no,
get what
yes.
you get what you get.
I'm sorry, Dirk. It's not what I bargained for.
Oh!
Kyle's here.
Oh, I didn't think Kyle was making it.
Welcome, Kyle.
See, I spoke too soon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kyle.
hey, there he is. Look at that. Look at that band. Two different headquarters, two compounds.
Apparently.
How you guys doing today? Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy
Likewise.
Friday.
So you're out in Florida?
Out in Florida. Out in Florida. Trying to
How's the
Apparently-
Rona treating you in Florida?
the weather or the COVID, you said?
The COVID.
The COVID.
I don't know. You know, it's up and down, Dirk. There's they open a little bit and then people abuse, go to bars, no mask, like nothing happened, and then we go back 2 months and so on and so forth.
All right. Well, glad you're happy and healthy, so to speak.
Thank you, Emily, Kyle, everybody. Welcome. You guys are so versatile, man. You guys are like the coolest band. Look at that. You take a song like Revel, that you can pretty much split the dance floor into a million pieces. You like make people dance till they melt, and then you just release Little Bird in September 4th, and which is the most beautiful, delicate song. You're like a Swiss knife of music, guys. So you guys have the whole spectrum. So we're really happy to have you guys.
Thank you.
Oh, Jesus, that's a good way to start an interview. It's like that's the compliment sandwich. I'm waiting for the part in the middle where you like, but now let's talk about the parts that we
Yes,
don't.
I'm sorry, Dirk, but at this time you're not a right fit for this role. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so guys, we want to get to the beginning of your band. I want to talk to you individually about some of the stuff you've done, which is pretty great. But first, Emily, I hear that you have a love for hiking and the outdoors. Is this true?
It is, yeah.
Okay. I need to ask this because you know what? I've been working hard all year, and some friend of mine convinced me to go to Sedona and take some time off. And I'm an idiot, and I heard them because that's not me at all. I'm a swimming pool club sandwich kind of guy, and now I don't know what's gonna happen. It's like, is a rattlesnake gonna get me? Like, what's my one advice that you can give me? Like, what the hell am I supposed to do?
Going out adventuring and hiking, you mean?
Yeah.
In the wilderness? Hey, bring some water, bring some snacks.
Okay.
See, I'm just like for me during this time, I feel like being in nature has been kind of the one thing that keeps me centered and just kind of like
Yeah.
makes me feel better, because it's just like stuck inside all the time. So, and then of course in California right now, there's just smoke everywhere. So
Right. I heard. Yeah.
we're even more inside, and I'm like, no, I need to see the trees.
Right. It's like murder hornets, and now like those photos out of San Francisco and everything. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Kyle, I do want to ask you, and that's probably where you are. I don't know, Kyle, but in addition to being a third of East of June, you are an amazing creative. You have an amazing creative agency. You've won a bunch of awards.
Thank you.
In research, the most beautiful websites I've ever seen in my life. You've won like gold winner for best packaging for video games. I guess my question, Kyle, is when do you sleep?
He doesn't.
Not often, dude, to be totally honest with you. Although I have found, I mean, I had like an insane work ethic since I was probably like 15, 16 years old. And it's only been probably the last like 3 or 4 years that I've learned to like slow down a little bit. When 6 p.m. rolls around, I kind of like call it a day.
Right.
But, I honestly don't really know holidays except for like the last 2 weeks of December when like the industry just shuts down. That's like the only holiday I know. Like people go, it's Labor Day. And I'm like, really? I have no idea.
Right. That's cool. That's great. And Dirk, I want to introduce Dirk to the audience. Obviously, Dirk, you have a permanent mark in rock history as a founding member of Incubus. But let's sidestep that for a second, Dirk. There's an urban legend about your name. I just want to, the moniker that you choose. Is the rumor true of where it came from? Can you clarify?
Well, I'm gonna go back just a split second. I may have a mark in rock history. It's up for debate whether or not it's a black mark next to my name, like the principal's office kind of thing. Look, when I was really young and getting into music, everybody that I was like kind of into in the mid to late 80s and like metal and stuff like that, they all have fake names. Everybody had a fake name. Right. So I decided that I needed a fake name, and what name exuded more rock star sexuality than the name Dirk Lance? It just screams penis. I mean,
like Dirk Diggler, almost. Yeah.
And so like shortly after kind of coming up with that, Boogie Nights comes out, and suddenly it's a thing. But look, we all make dumb choices when we're like 18 years old. So it seemed like a good idea at the time. And I'm too lazy to change it at this point. But.
Yeah. No, at this point, that's your domain. But
I
wanted to clarify.
Is who I am.
Okay, that's awesome. And okay, Kyle and Emily, I have to ask you something that's never been asked before. I'm sure I'm the first one to ask about the Bumble story, right? I'm unoriginal there, but God damn it, it's so good, that story. I mean, it's almost like one of those movies in the 90s with Tom Hanks and When Harry Met Sally. It's fantastic. You guys met on Bumble, just to tell my audience, you guys met on Bumble, but who reached out to who? What is the first line there, Kyle? How did it happen?
It's funny. So Dirk and I had been working on this project, and we had some demo ideas and things, and we were looking for a female singer, and I literally had put it on my vision board to like find female singer. And I literally remember like hearing a little voice in my head just say like, be open to however that sort of presents itself.
Interesting.
And I think it was literally like New Year's Day or January 2nd, because I actually went back and looked at the email response that Emily had sent me. But I saw her on Bumble and I was just like, oh, she sings. Oh, she has her website. I didn't even like, the whole swipe right thing was more like nice for the press release. I literally don't even know if I did that. I just found her website, listened to her music, and she had a little email form. So I sent her a note, and she replied in like a couple of days, and we had a little chat on the phone, and it was really cool. We had a really good conversation. And I think the thing that drew me to her the most was she had no aspirations of like really being a pop star. She was all about the songwriting.
I love that.
We talked about like Fleetwood Mac was like a band we really connected about.
Love it.
And so, I sent her like a couple of demos. It was funny. At the end of the call, she was like, if you remember, I think she was like, so how'd you find me?
Yeah.
And I was just very honest and transparent. I was like, honestly, I found you on Bumble, but to be straight up, like, I'm not going to hit on you. I'm not going to ask you out. If you want to work, then like, let's get to work.
See, the better part of this story would be finding out once and for all if you guys actually did swipe on each other, or if you're both just like, oh God, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I downloaded the app, I think, for like 5 minutes, and then I do some swipes, and I'm like, ugh, I hate this. So I don't even know if I realized that like I still had my profile, but good thing I did. So
yeah, absolutely. No, I'm with Dirk though. When you guys, when Kyle markets the pilot and sells the TV show, you guys should keep it, a little flexible.
You actually had a great idea there. I was like, we could totally sell this. We could get a script option for like a rom-com.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People would eat it up. We need that. Yeah. And you mentioned Fleetwood Mac. I think I read another of your mutual influences is one of the friends of our show. He's been here a couple of times. John Oates of Hall & Oates.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. I don't know what he loves talking to me, but yeah, like that's awesome. What other influences do you guys have with each other?
So many. It's funny because like we all love different artists and we're inspired by different bands and everything, but yet at the same time, you mesh them all together and it works. So
yeah,
I mean, I kind of more love all the contemporary songwriters and new people that are coming out, like Lennon Stella and of course Billie Eilish and all those people. And
Right.
and then
She's amazing.
Kyle, I know you're like, Mr. 80s, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really into, my taste is pretty broad. I think mainly just growing up as a guitar player, my earliest teachers were always like, you've got to listen to as much music as possible to just be a more well-rounded, player. But as far as like newer stuff that I'm into everything from like Chelsea Wolfe to like, Depeche Mode to like Slayer to, Jay-Z, like old hip hop, like Tribe Called Quest and Public Enemy. I worked in hip hop for a long time, house music. Like I'm into a lot of like drum and bass on, house and techno and that kind of stuff. But I think that's why East of June, you can go from like Rebel to something like Little Bird, because we have so many just like flavors that we all dig. And it's kind of like what you get is the three of us all coming from sort of like different angles. And that's what makes the sound unique.
Yeah, the chemistry is obviously there. I can't pinpoint how, but it's clearly there.
No one can.
No one knows.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. But Dirk, I want to ask you. Okay, so you were working with Kyle. He was kind of asking for feedback on his music, and then Emily comes in. But like, when is like the aha moment where it's like, man, this is really good chemistry. There's a really good flow here.
There was a pivot point where we originally thought what we were going to do is we were kind of just going to write songs together and produce the songs up to a certain level and then kind of put it out there in the world for somebody else to probably finish, just be a songwriting team. And as we got more and more involved in the actual production, we couldn't seem to let them go. They kept getting produced to a point where it was like, okay, this is ready to actually be released. And then I know for me, I kept looking over at her and been like, wow, maybe she should just be the singer of a band. Maybe we should be the band. Maybe we should be a band. Okay, why don't we be a band? Because there was no plans on doing that. I had, having spent so much time on tour and being in and around bands, it's a fucked up lifestyle. I mean, you come to hate each other. So I was trying to like avoid that at all costs. But
at least we know where the path we're headed.
Yeah, well, no, I like to think that after 25 years kind of associated in the business, I've learned some of the pitfalls and am able to try and bring a little bit more experience and patience, just being a little bit older into the whole thing. And then the idea is, okay, we weren't a band that had developed a sound. We were kind of making it up as we went along, and it could be anything that we wanted it to be. So that is what feeds into the flexibility in songwriting. It all starts, is there a song there? Is it a good song? What does it sound like? What could it sound like? And then once it kind of runs through the filter of the three of us as East of June, it always comes out sounding different because we're still figuring out who we want to be. And the best part of a process like that is, you don't have 10 years of going, oh, I'm this type of band. I have to stay in this kind of narrow lane. You get to do whatever you want. And that's how you get Rebel on one hand, Little Bird on the other, and a whole bunch of stuff kind of in between. And God only knows what the next set of tunes is going to end up sounding like.
Yeah. I mean, I got a chance to preview some of them, man. Really good stuff. But I'll leave that to you guys. But I think that you guys are starting from the right principles, which is the good songwriting, right? Like when you take a song like Rebel, I am my own worst contender. I wear my shield and my armor, not picking sides, because they're both mine. Like, look, every song that I dissected, guys, like the songwriting is spectacular. So that's like a value that like the sound almost is complementary, right? You have the good song, for sure. So I want to talk about Little Bird, which you guys released recently, and I want to talk to Kyle about it. I want to talk to all of you guys about it. But first, Kyle, you started writing this song in April, right? From what we researched during early quarantine. But the song is like, so you clearly were in a right mind space. Like you were in a quiet mind space. And it seems like when you did it, the world was opposite of a quiet mind space. Does that make sense? That's when everyone was panicking the most. What was going on in your mind? How did you get to that like Zen level?
Honestly, it was actually March. I want to say it was the first week of March.
Even worse, yeah.
It's kind of an interesting story because I was actually suffering from a migraine headache like the weekend. For me, like the day of quarantine is basically, or I should say the pivot point when the world went to shit was when the NBA shut down. I think like the entire world kind of took notice of this was like real. the weekend prior, I had like a bad migraine headache, and I went driving in my neighborhood trying to find some headache medicine, and all the like the stores were fine except like all the Excedrin and Tylenol, the pills were just cleared out. And so I was like, oh man, everyone's like starting to panic right now. So I actually, the next day, I think I got up and did some grocery shopping and just kind of got prepared because I had a feeling that like something was going to shift. And then sure enough, like 3 days later was when, Rudy Gobert for the Jazz came down with it.
Right.
And, we had just launched the band in October. I mean, granted, we've been working behind the scenes for a couple of years, and Dirk and I even like 3 years prior to that, before we even got to that point. And it was like we felt like we had this momentum. We knew what our release schedule was going to look like. We had ambitions of maybe doing a record by the end of the year, and then it was like everything just kind of stopped. And I'm just such a like resilient person, and I'm incredibly like persistent. And I kind of just said to myself, I was like, you know what, like, this cannot like derail us. Maybe I should just like write something like really simple and cool that we could just easily do at home and not have to worry about getting live drums in a professional studio and all this stuff.
Right.
I would do something kind of acoustic and simple. And I live in like a little town like north of Los Angeles that's already kind of out in the trees with the squirrels and the coyotes and everything. And I just went out on the porch and grabbed my acoustic, and I just kind of just started noodling and kind of stumbled upon something, and I kind of just kept noodling on it. And I was like, okay, what's this? And I just sit there and practice it. And it was just kind of like, I don't know. It was just where I was just like finding my own little, like private little space to kind of deal with everything going on around me. And that was when I kind of showed it to the band and, had the basic idea. And then Smidge really kind of took it from there and was like, let me go come up with something. And then.
Amazing. That's that speaks really well of your mind space. I think most people, when they would have bought the Tylenol or whatever, they would have gone directly to buy toilet paper, like, freaking out, like probably everybody else, right?
Yeah, no, I went and grabbed my guitar.
Yeah, smart. More useful. Emily, I want to ask you also about the song. It's obviously a beautiful concept of a song. It's a ritual in maturing, if you will, the little bird leaving the nest, to college or to whatever you want to interpret it as. You're an only child, Emily, so I want to ask you, how did you get into this so vivid in such detail, such rich detail when you performed this song of the bird leaving the nest?
Yeah, I guess I kind of my parents are divorced and my dad remarried, so I had my stepmom, and then they divorced later, and now I have his current wife. So I feel like sometimes I have three moms.
Gotcha.
So I sometimes feel like I'm like surrounded by parents, I guess. And so it's kind of easy for me to sort of understand, like growing up, like I very much connected with adults.
Yeah.
So I think just kind of that understanding of like taking both sides of the coin, and from my perspective, kind of, at different points in my life being a little, wary or scared about like jumping forward in the next chapter, going out on my own, and then just kind of also
swiping right.
And then also just knowing that, like, from my parents' point of view, it's like, we love you and we want you to stay, but we also need you to get the heck out. So,
right.
So I feel like, I don't know, I just kind of like wanted to show that side of it. I'm not a parent yet, but I feel like I know that sort of idea just coming from both sides. And then I finally moved out on my own, and it was just like, everything's gonna be fun. Like, you're gonna figure it out. Like, so it's just that heartwarming side of it too.
Yeah, it's super heartwarming. And Dirk, I want to ask you, obviously Incubus was kind of an underdog, Dirk, at the beginning, especially, before Make Yourself, you kind of had that chip on your shoulder. I'm wondering, I kind of see some similarities, but I wanted to ask you if I'm crazy with East of June, because you have the goods, you have the talent, you have the songwriting, you have the drive. Are there any similarities with that, like, underdog mentality?
Well, I mean, the business has changed. If I knew then what I know now, I'm not so sure I would have gone through that entire process, but that's the beauty of not being able to tell an 18-year-old kid, like, yeah, chances are you're not going to succeed. They don't want to hear it. Yeah. So we just did it blindly and worked really hard at it because we didn't know any better. You grow up And when you really know just how stacked against you the deck is in terms of catching lightning in a bottle and having it happen twice, I mean, it's a little wary, and I think that, you know, you kind of have to temper your expectations about the chances of success. But at the same time, I'd like to think that I've learned a few things along the way about what's important, and it's not so much the destination as it is the journey. Like, can you be smart about what you're doing, but at the same time, really enjoy the process, really enjoy the music that you're making. And I think as long as you do it, it's not quite the same type of work that it would be. Ignorance is bliss when you're young, that's for sure. And the advice that I'd give to somebody else starting out now is probably don't. But at the same time, I'm stubborn and I don't listen to fucking anybody. So if I decide that I'm going to do it, I'm just going to do it. And I don't know that it's as much an underdog mentality as it's just like, look, I can't be bothered to let somebody else's naysaying about the chances of success or whether or not it's going to work, whether or not they even like it, really affect the decision-making process as to whether or not it brings joy to me. So I write the songs, or we write the songs that we like. Fuck them if they can't take a joke. And it's as much for us as anybody else. So if that's kind of where your art's coming from, it's hard to go wrong. Yeah. Because it's just, it's an authentic representation, at least, of my attitude about music and the world, if you will.
Absolutely. My God, drop the mic there with that answer. I love it. It's true. Yeah. Amazing.
Punch the singer.
Punch the singer. Drop the mic.
Exactly. Oh, guys, you guys have been so generous with your time. Kyle, I want to ask you guys, what's next for your band? Obviously, there's been no touring. We hope that, it'll be here sooner rather than later. Like, what's on your 8-month, 6-month kind of like tentative planning
Kyle,
for the band?
What's about to happen?
What are we allowed to announce today? I mean, we've certainly been we've been working up. We know that playing shows in person is not going to be an option anytime soon, but we have been rehearsing behind the scenes, putting together a band. Possibly for some live streaming stuff, and if a vaccine just magically appears and venues open up, then we'll be able to take advantage of that. We're working really hard on music, honestly. I mean, we've really taken the time that everything's kind of been on lockdown. We've got our own little bubble within the band, which is basically the band, our significant others, children, pets, whatever. And we've been writing and recording new music. So we've actually got a slate of stuff that we finished that just hasn't been released yet. Mm-hmm. We're continuing to work on new stuff, and I think just really kind of like form the band and what that potential live experience is gonna feel like.
It's gonna be amazing. It's going to be phenomenal, guys. Guys, I'll let you get on with your weekend. You've been more than generous with your time, and you have been phenomenal. And congratulations again, guys. Your music really is fantastic. And I double down on that. Like, the songwriting is A+, guys. And that's what we love, guys. Congratulations.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Stay safe out there in Florida.
Absolutely. All right, Emily, Dirk. Emily, if I'm in trouble in Sedona, I don't know. I'm going to blame it on you. I'm going to say, I don't know what just happened there. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.